Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Mid Speeds live class. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's start off with some common words. I will go ahead and mute everyone. Here we go. Ready? The, I, to, and, a, of, was, he, you, it, in, her, she, that, my, his, me, on, with, at, as, had, for, but, him, said, be, up, out, look, so, have, what, not, just, like, go, they, is, this, from, all, we, were, back, do, one, about, no, if, when, get, then, into, would, no, there, I'm, could, don't. Hi, Catherine. All right, let's do some common phrases. Here we go. When I want, when I wanted, when I was, when I will, when I would, when is, when shall, when should, when the, when was, when were, when will, when would, when you are, when you believe, when you believed, when you can, when you cannot, when you could, when you feel, when you felt, when you had, when you have been, when you have had, when you know, when you recall, when you recalled, when you recollect, when you recollected, when you remember, when you remembered, when you say, when you shall, when you should, when you understand, when you want, when you wanted, when you were, when you will, when you would, where are, where can, where could, where do you live, where do you reside, where have, where he believed, where he believes. All right. Now, here are some top words that are in different sentences or phrases. Here we go. Near the car, a few good men. In the country, it seemed too good. Below the water, it's hard to open. Keep it up. In the beginning, the light in your eyes. We got together. We saw the food. It's my life. We started the fire. Run for miles. Do it often. It's time to eat. A second later, talk to my father. Sing your song. My family, a very important person. Watch the game. So far, so good. I like being on the team. The dark night. A few children. Watch the river. He started to cry. Leave it to me. The first day of school. Okay, let's do some names and addresses. Here we go. Mr. Gary A. Newsom, Newsom, P.O. Box 31417, Houston, Texas 77231. Mr. Kenneth L. McKinney, McKinney, 5117 North Lonsdale Drive, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27405. Ms. Angela C. Bell, Bell, 721 Rico Street, Harbor City, Maryland, 21215. Joan P. Parojic, Parojick, Forest View High School, 2121 South Gobert Road, Arlington Heights, Illinois, 60005. Cindy G. Einspahr, Einspahr, P.O. Box 37A, Kendall, Kansas 67857. Ms. LaToya M. Boone, Boone, 973 Marshall Street, Gary, Indiana 46404. Ms. Brenda K. Carr, Carr, 2345 Sarah Boulevard, Toronto, Ohio 43964. Donna R. Hines, Hines, A.H. Robbins Company, 1211 Sherwood Avenue, P.O. Box 26609, Richmond, Virginia, 23261. Barbara T. Corrigan, Corrigan, P.O. Box 2329, Millersville, University of Pennsylvania, Millersville, Pennsylvania, 17551. All right. Now I've got a similarity drill. I'm going to give you the words and then I'm going to give you the sentences, okay? So we've got communicate, community, receiver, received, present, important, examine, exam, discussion, into, experience, expense, response, nothing, negligent, negligence, individual, verdict, collaborate, cooperate, contribute, balance, ambulance, proximate, quiz, answer, individual, recommend, aspirin, summon, someone, jury, injury, question, letter, answer, yesterday, university, affidavit, evident, cross-examine, crosswalk, progress, perjury, prejudice, permanent, permitting, indeed, independent, subject, object, convince, consequence, sequence, consequently, newspaper, article, imagine, manufacture, standpoint, stipulate, eliminate, elements, difficulties, definitely, October, 80, conscious, conscience, superior, super, position, possess, notice, notify, enterprise, interior, essential, initial, eventual, probability, possibility, is it, it is, it's, permit, permanent, interior, exterior, let's see, official, financial, difference, conference. So some of these words aren't the same, but because we have a brief for them, that might be similar to another brief. That's kind of what they're pairing together. Okay, so here are your sentences. Here we go. It is hard to communicate with this community. Hang up the receiver and refer to this note that I just received. At the present, nothing is important. Shall we examine the exam for the examination? Let's enter into the discussion. In my experience, they need a response on the expense account. There is nothing worse than being negligent. The individual read the verdict. Please collaborate with us and corroborate the fact that we need to contribute funds to the cause. They had to balance the victim on the gurney in the ambulance. They came upon the approximate answer to the quiz. For about how long did you know this individual? Did he recall what he said or remember that he recommended taking an aspirin? We need to summon someone soon. The jury heard about the man's injury. The answer to the question is the letter Z. Yesterday I went to the university. It is evident that he received the affidavit. You need to cross-examine your need to use the crosswalk. It's hard to make progress when there is prejudice in a perjury case. There is a permanent problem by permitting this program to be canceled. Indeed, he was an independent contractor. He needed immediate medical attention. That subject was the object of our search. Let me try to convince you of the sequence of events. Subsequently, we had to suffer the consequences. The newspaper article discussed the new material. I cannot imagine how the engine on the machine broke, but they can manage to manufacture another one. The standpoint you can take is that we stipulate that it is true. What limit do they have before they eliminate all the elements in the case? I definitely dealt with all the difficulties. On October 1st, he will be 80. I became conscious that his conscience was bothering him. Tom drank a superior liquid called a super gulp. What position did he possess during the game? I noticed that they will notify us by Thursday. They started up the new enterprise in the interior of the building. It is essential that you tell us your initial response and the eventual outcome. In all probability, there is only a slight possibility that we can do that. Is it true that it is not over until it's over, or was that its function? It'll permit you to get the permanent position. Was the interior of the building damaged or just the exterior? What do you consider will occur at that time? Where is the official financial report? What difference does it make which conference room we use? All right. Now I have a dress code drill. These are different dress clothes or different clothing for the dress code. All right. Here we go. Men's clothing options. All items listed together must coordinate. Business suit, dress suit, tucked in, or dress shirt tucked in, tie, belt, and dress socks. Sport coat, dress slacks with dress shirt, button down and long or short sleeve and tucked in, belt, tie, and dress socks. Slacks with dress shirt tucked in, tie, belt, and dress socks. Slacks, banded collar shirt tucked in, belt, and sport coat, and dress socks. Slacks, dress shirt tucked in, sweater, belt, tie, and dress socks. Women's clothing options. All items listed together must coordinate. Business suit, slacks, blouse, and nylons, tights or trouser socks. Business shirt, skirt, blouse, and nylons or tights. Business dress with sleeves and nylons or tights. Business dress with blazer or sweater and nylons or tights. Slacks with blouse tucked in and sweater and nylons, tights, or trouser socks. Slacks with blouse tucked in and jacket and nylons, tights, or trouser socks. Slacks with business blouse tucked in and nylons, tights, or trouser socks. Skirt with blouse tucked in and sweater and nylon or tights. Skirt with blouse tucked in and jacket and nylons or tights. skirt with business blouse tucked in, and nylons or tights. Men's shoes, coordinating dress shoes, coordinating dress boots. Women's shoes, dress shoes with heel no higher than 2 inches, professional open-toed with or without a back strap, with heels no higher than 2 inches. Knee-length dress boots with heel no higher than 2 inches. Men's clothing not allowed: any casual clothing or shorts, cargo pants or pants with lettering or symbols of any kind, denim in any color, tank tops, t-shirts, polo shirts, Hawaiian shirt, letterman's jackets or any other athletic gear, any tattered or stained clothing, undergarments showing, hats or caps of any kind, sunglasses, athletic or casual socks, construction, industrial, military, or cowboy boots. Women's clothing not allowed: skirts more than 2 inches above the knee, any casual clothing or shorts, cargo pants or pants with lettering or symbols of any kind, denim in any color, tank tops, t-shirts, shirts with spaghetti straps, polo shirts, Hawaiian shirts, or shirts showing midriffs or cleavage, or see-through clothing. Dresses with spaghetti straps without a jacket, mini skirts or skirts, capri pants or cropped pants, spandex, undergarment showing, letterman's jacket or any other athletic gear, tattered or stained clothing, hats or caps of any kind, sunglasses, athletic or casual socks, construction, industrial, military, or cowboy boots, accessories, piercings, and tattoos. No visible body piercings other than ears. No visible tattoos. Hair must be present, hair must present a natural color and style. Business casual dress code. This is a general overview of appropriate business casual attire. Items that are not appropriate for the office are listed too. Neither list is all-inclusive and both are open to change. The lists tell you what is generally acceptable as business casual attire and what is generally not acceptable as business casual attire. No dress code can cover all contingencies, so employees must exert a certain amount of judgment in their choice of clothing to wear to work. If you experience uncertainty about acceptable professional business casual attire for work, please ask your supervisor. Slacks, pants, and suit pants. Slacks that are similar to Dockers and other makers of cotton or synthetic material pants, wool pants, flannel pants, and nice-looking dress synthetic pants are acceptable. Inappropriate slacks or pants include jeans, sweatpants, exercise pants, Bermuda shorts, short shorts, shorts, bib overalls, leggings, and any spandex or other form-fitted pants such as people wear for biking. Skirts, dresses, and skirted suits. Casual dresses and skirts that are split at or below the knee are acceptable. Dress and skirt length should be at a length at which you can sit comfortably in public. Short, tight skirts that ride halfway up the thigh are inappropriate for work. Mini skirts, skirts, sundresses, beach dresses, and spaghetti strap dresses are inappropriate for the office. Shirts, tops, blouses, and jackets. Casual shirts, dress shirts, sweaters, tops, golf-type shirts, and turtlenecks are acceptable attire for work. Most suit jackets or sport jackets are also acceptable attire for the office if they violate none of the listed guidelines. Inappropriate attire for work includes tank tops, midriff tops, shirts with potentially offensive words, terms, logos, pictures, cartoons, or slogans, halter tops, tops with bare shoulders, sweatshirts, and t-shirts unless worn under another blouse, shirt, jacket, or dress. Shoes and footwear. Conservative shoes, loafers, clogs, boots, flats, dress heels, and leather deck type shoes are acceptable for work. Wearing no stockings is acceptable in warm weather. Flashy athletic shoes, thongs, flip-flops, slippers are not acceptable in the office. Finally, jewelry, makeup, perfume, and cologne should be in good taste with limited visible body piercing. Remember that some employees are allergic to the chemicals in perfumes and makeup, so wear these substances with restraint. Hats and head covering. Hats are not appropriate in the office. Head covers that are required for religious purposes or to honor cultural tradition are allowed. Conclusion: if clothing fails to meet these standards as determined by the employee's supervisor, the employee will be asked not to wear the inappropriate item to work again. If the problem persists, the employee may be sent home to change clothes and will receive a verbal warning for the first offense. All other policies about personal time use will apply. Progressive disciplinary action will be applied if the dress code violations continue. All right. Now we have one drill left and we'll move into literary. Okay. This is just, these are like common words. Okay. All right. You're going to hear there, when, does, where, who, and, this, on, now, from, that, to, in, there, did, but, do, it, if, what, why, come, came, about. All right, let me just state this. All right. Here we go. It's going to start off, well, there might be just some phrases and then it goes into more of the sentences. Okay, here we go. Did he or she say what? About what? What about it? This came from there. Why did that come from there? Where does this come from? Where did that come from? Who is on that there? And why does it come and go? And if it comes and goes, when does it come here? Did this doctor from there go then? Then where did it come from? When it does come, if it comes from there. But what about if this doctor and that person there did that? Now in that, where we knew what had been said about this, that he did that when she had come there with them. They came with her to see about him and her and he and she and those and them and we and me and my and why. Oh, why? And did he and do you and this is and that is and these and those and come and does and comes and goes, and if it had come from there, where is it now that it is near? And what did they do then? And when you got up there, why did you go up there with them? What did you do last night? What did you do after you went with them? What did you say to them? And what did they say to you? Is that what you said to them? What did they say? Where did they say it? Then what did they do? Then what did you do? And what did they do? What did you do and what did they do when you got into their car? For about an hour, we talked to them over there. And did they take you back home then? When you got to the intersection, then what happened? And then where did you go? Did you go into the gas station then? Where did you go when you got in there? Did you go up or down, or did you stay on the same floor? What did they ask and what did you say to them? Did there come a time when he was here to get aside those things? They need to please put them over there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move into some literary. This is expert testimony. I'm going to start at 120 with this one. And I will work my way to 160. Okay. All right, here we go. I entered the field of real estate in 1995 as a real estate salesman for a company, which was later to become the Centurion, Centurion Realty Company. And I was engaged in the selling, leasing, and the rental of real property, and in some property management business until 2005, at which time I took the examination and became a real estate broker and a business opportunity broker. I continued in the real estate field full-time until 2008, when I undertook the appraisal of real property, and I attended the University of Southern California. I took special courses sponsored by the American Institute of Real Estate Appraisers called Real Estate Case Studies, course number 101, which was put on at USC in 2008. In 2009, I went to the University of Colorado and took case studies courses number 102. Unfortunately, I failed the examination in Colorado. There were 2 out of a class of 55 that passed the examination. So the examination was offered again, and I did not take the re-examination, but I attended the course at USC in 2010 and retook case studies course number 102, successfully passed the examinations. And at that time, I assisted in the field work and training aspect of the course. From 2008 until the present time, the majority of my time has been devoted to real estate and to the appraisal of real property. I have become the president of Centurion Realty Company and do conduct a general real estate business under that name at the same address, 1250 Glen Canyon Avenue in Los Angeles. And in 2015, I formed a corporation for the appraisal business, appraisal and right-of-way acquisition business called the Southern California Appraisals Incorporated, and I'm president of that corporation also. It is located at the same address in Los Angeles. I have been employed full-time in the appraisal and brokerage of real estate since 2015. With the exception of during the war, I spent 3 years at a Midwestern defense plant, but I maintained my interest and kept up my activities in the real estate field at the same time. All right. I'm going to give you just a little bit more literary, okay? And then we'll get on to jury charge. All right. I'm going to start this one at 140 and work my way to 160, okay? This is called, it's drama in real life. Jacob's dead, isn't he? This is a true story. A cold wind was gusting down from the Cumberland Plateau last May 29 as Rita Bennett and her 3 small children drove up to their hilltop home in Harriman, Tennessee. Parking by the kitchen door, Rita, 38, collected some clean shirts from the back of her car. Then, helped by 4-year-old Joshua, she slammed the back shut and carried the laundry into the house. In the driveway, the car, with Julie Ann, 2, and 10-month-old Jacob still inside, began to roll forward. Gathering speed, it went over a 60-foot embankment and plunged through the brush into a deep, shaded pond. Rita came out of the house and stood there aghast. Where was the car? Her eye searched the grounds. Then a terrifying thought occurred: the pond. She dashed to the embankment and saw her white car floating in the murky green water. She could hear her children crying. Rita raced for her phone and stabbed out her husband's office number. "Tell Bill to come home right away," she gasped to his secretary. "The car is in the pond." In an instant, she picked up her pace and began sliding down the embankment. She took a flying dive into the icy water. The car was now more than halfway across the pond's 70-foot width and submerged to the hood. When she reached it, she found a sobbing Julie Ann standing on the floor next to the right rear door. It was locked, but the window was down about 10 inches. "Come to me, Julie Ann," Rita coaxed. The little girl wiggled out into the mother's arms. Now Rita tried to free Jacob, still strapped into his car seat on the far side of the back seat. Holding Julie Ann on her hip, Rita forced her head and right shoulder into the car. She felt it tipping forward. Water gushed up from the floor, rising rapidly. Her outstretched fingers pressed the red button to release the straps around the baby's shoulders. But from her awkward position, she was not able to apply enough pressure to release the harness. Rita withdrew to heft Julie Ann higher. When she turned back, she saw the water rush over Jacob's head. "He's drowning," she thought. Then the water engulfed mother and daughter. Rita kicked away from the car and struggled to the bank of the pond. "Oh my God," she wept hysterically as she crawled from the water. Julie Ann clung to her, crying. The black roof rack of the car was barely visible under the green slime of the pond. Rita had never been able to hold her breath underwater for more than a few seconds. Now, with the car submerged, she felt trapped in a nightmare, powerless to save her son. "Mommy, Mommy," Joshua shouted from the top of the embankment. "Get Jacob out." "I can't," Rita screamed. "I can't." Clutching her daughter, she started toward the driveway. "My baby has drowned," she thought. As Dr. William Bennett, a 35-year-old specialist in internal medicine, was talking with a patient at the Harriman Medical Center, his secretary relayed Rita's message. Bill and Rita had met during the war when she was a lieutenant in the nursing corps and he was a medic. Back home after their marriage, Rita's skill under pressure had put her much in demand as a trauma ward nurse, a grueling job she held until her husband finished medical school. Realizing that only a life-threatening emergency would have prompted Rita's panicked call, Bennett drove 4 miles home as fast as he could, weaving through the heavy traffic with lights flashing and horn blaring. Coming up the driveway, he spotted Joshua. "The car is in the pond," the boy yelled. "Jacob is in the car." Bennett's throat tightened as he looked over the water. Nothing broke the surface. He saw his wife and daughter through the trees and sprinted down the slope. "Jacob is dead," Rita screamed. "Where?" he shouted. Rita pointed to a place about 50 feet farther along. "In the car seat," she said. "Right back window is open." The blur of the luggage rack caught Bennett's eye, and he went headlong into the water without even drawing a breath. His hand traced the top of the tailgate, about 5 feet down. He worked around to the side into deeper water. The car was sinking into the mud with its front end tilted toward the center of the pond. The depth was 40 feet there. Bennett knew he had not a moment to spare. In the inky darkness, he felt the partly opened window and then discovered that the front passenger window was down. Bennett sneaked his lean body, or snaked, into the car and groped around for Jacob. His fingers brushed the boy's arms. They were death cold, drifting lifelessly in the water. For an instant, the father recoiled with shock. He steadied himself with a palm against the roof and then stretched for the harness button. Something held him back. His shirt tail was caught. As he pushed with his feet against the dashboard, trying to break free, the hamstring tendon in his left leg cramped. Next, he felt the muscles below his chest go into spasm. Panic welled in him. He was out of breath, losing control, failing his son. Think, he told himself. Pull yourself together. He swam out of the window and came to the surface. Rita watched fearfully from the bank. Jacob is dead, isn't he? She called. Her husband did not reply. The air was clearing his mind. He had to summon for help. There was still the awful question of whether Jacob could be revived without devastating brain damage. Bennett alone wanted to make the decision on attempting resuscitation. Call 911, Rita, he said. Go on and call. As she left, Bennett dived again, this time hooking his feet outside the window and lunging across the seat back for the release button on Jacob's harness. He pushed the button, but he could not apply enough direct pressure to release the straps. Once more, he came to the surface to marshal his thoughts. He remembered the pocket knife in his hip pocket. The straps could be cut, but he could not slash at them blindly in the darkness. He needed to get close. The car was settling ever deeper into the mud. Time was ticking away. The tailgate, it was usually unlocked, and it was higher out of the mud. Bennett dived for it, slipped the catch, and braced his feet on the back bumper. With all of his might, he heaved. Slowly, the door came up. Crawling into the back behind Jacob, he took out his knife and severed the straps to the baby seat. The child floated up into his father's arms. Backing out of the car, Bennett shot to daylight. As they reached the bank, the father turned the limp little body over his knee and pressed firmly on the back. A great gush of green water poured from the child's mouth. Bennett continued pumping. Water emptied from the lungs a second and third time. When he put the boy over onto his back, he saw two huge eyes staring sightlessly out of a mottled, dusky blue face. There was no pulse. Bennett began resuscitation. The fingers of his left hand pinched shut the nostrils and opened the mouth. Two fingers of the right hand pressed rhythmically on the breastbone. After every fifth move on the chest, Bennett blew air into Jacob's lungs. As he worked, his physician's mind kept questioning. The cold of the water would have slowed the metabolic process in the child's brain cells, diminishing their demand for oxygen. But how long had Jacob been underwater? 15 minutes? For all that time, the tiny arteries had not been supplying blood to the critical outer cells. In practice, Bennett did not resuscitate prolonged cardiac arrest patients. He felt it was inhumane. Will I curse my own son with a fate worse than death? He asked himself. There was a stirring at his side. Joshua, run to the house, his father ordered. Bring me a blanket. The boy dashed off. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, still no response, no pulse. Suddenly the baby gasped. Bennett breathed more air into Jacob's mouth. The child inhaled and then exhaled. When Joshua returned with the blanket, Jacob had strength enough to moan. Rita appeared on the distant bank. "He's breathing," Bennett shouted. The mother wept with confused relief and anxiety. She knew, as surely as her husband did, that Jacob could be severely brain damaged. He had been submerged for at least 13 minutes. An ambulance soon was speeding Jacob to Harriman City Hospital. His body temperature was 92 degrees. His limbs twitched with the effects of oxygen deficiency. He was put under a warmer, and gradually, after he was hyperventilated with oxygen, the spasms subsided. Intravenous salt solutions compensated for the natural sodium that had diluted in his body. Steroids brought down a swelling in his brain caused by the accumulation of metabolic byproducts. Late in the afternoon, Jacob was transferred to the intensive care ward of the East Tennessee Children's Hospital in Knoxville, where Rita paced the halls in tormented vigil. The next day, Bennett talked with the attending neurologist. "Jacob's signs are normal," was the report. "Every response is perfect. No apparent brain damage at all?" the father asked in amazement. "None," came the reply. Bennett went into the ward and stood over his son's crib. Jacob beamed happily. "Dada," he said in welcome. 2 months later, the Bennett stood at the shallow end of a swimming pool with Jacob between them. He seemed to show no fear of the water. But if he was to be taught to swim like his brother and sister, he must first learn to hold his breath. Each taking an arm, his father and mother cried, 1, 2, 3. Then they ducked their son under the water. He came up without a splutter, laughing with pleasure. The nightmare at the pond was really over. Pretty amazing. So do you know where that is? Harriman, Harriman?
No, I don't.
Harriman, Tennessee. Huh.
Knoxville's about 3 hours away from me,
Okay.
so I'm not as familiar with that area.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like, there's like a little picture here. It kind of looks kind of woodsy. So I don't know, maybe it's, who knows? But I thought about you because I thought, oh, she's in Tennessee.
Yeah, no, I maybe at most have driven past it, but I don't know where it is.
I was going to only read half of that, and then I thought, no, I can't just stop in the middle of it. It's like torture, it's like a movie, like, wait, what happened? So we'll do some jury charge, and then we'll move on to Q&A, okay?
All
right. This is a definition of bailment. Here we go. This isn't very long. A bailment may be defined insofar as it applies to this case as a contract for the delivery of personal property for safekeeping, and is a contract which is contemplated to be beneficial to both parties thereto, where the bailment is reciprocally beneficial to both parties, as in this case, the bailee, the defendant in this case, is liable to the bailer, the plaintiff in this case, for the failure to exercise ordinary or reasonable care in the absence of a special agreement to the contrary. You are instructed that the defendant was negligent if he failed to exercise the degree of care in protecting the plaintiff's property that an ordinarily careful and prudent person would have exercised under the same or like circumstances. If the defendant used ordinary care and diligence, then he is not liable. But if he failed to use the ordinary care and diligence that an ordinarily prudent person would have used under these circumstances, then he is liable. The burden of proof is upon the plaintiff to prove by a fair preponderance of the evidence that there was a neglect of duty that the defendant owed to him when the defendant became a bailee of this automobile. All right. Let's do some Q&A. We'll start off with an easier transcript, and I'll start at 120, but I will work my way to 140 and 160, and this is the dog bite transcript, so it's a little bit easier. And it looks like, let's see who's questioning. Okay, defense is questioning. Here we go. Okay, Daniel, I'm going to show your counsel for photographs, and he's going to show them to you. I just want you to look at them for a minute, and then I'll ask you some questions about the photographs. Is that okay, Daniel? Okay. Now, all right, Daniel, I'm going to explain. Would you like to explain? Sure, maybe I can explain it a little easier. There are two photographs here marked A and B. Then there are two more marked C and D. So he's going to ask you some questions about these photographs. It's okay. Take your time and, make your decision about what you see. Okay? Okay. Just look at the photos for a minute. Okay. Go ahead and spread them out in front of you. Okay? Now, you've got 4 photographs there, right? Yes. And all 4 of them have dogs in them. 1 dog in each of the 4 photographs? Yes. Okay. Are any of those dogs there your dog Max? This one here. Okay, now you just pointed to A. Is that correct? Yes. So that one you think might be Max? Yeah. Your dog? Yeah. Does it look like Max? Yeah. Okay, do you know who the man is in the picture? No. Okay, now I'd like for you to look at A, B, C, and D. Were any of those dogs the dog that bit you? Yeah. Which one? It was one of these. It was that one. The one in photograph B? Uh-huh. Is that a yes? Yes. Okay, remember to say yes or no, okay? We don't want uh-huh or huh-uh. Okay. Have you ever seen the photographs here of C and D? You mean the dog, counsel? Thank you. Yes, the dog. No. Have you ever seen this dog before? No. Okay, your attorney is pointing to photograph D. No. Now the one that bit you, is that the one that you say bit you? Yes. Okay, the other dog that didn't bite you, is it in any of these pictures? Yes. Which one? That one. So the dog that did not bite you was in photograph D? Yes. Okay. Is the dog in photograph D the one that stayed across the street? Yes. Okay. I'm going to show you 2 more photographs, E and F. I'm going to let your attorney look at them, and then he will hand them to you. Thank you. Is that someone's house? Yeah. In photograph E and F? Yes. Whose house is that? My house. Was that the house you were living in at the time that this happened? Yes. Now I'd like for you to look at photograph E. Can you tell me where you tried to climb over the fence? Can you show that to me? It was over here. Okay, now over on the left side of the photograph? Yes. Behind this little tree? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you photograph F. Where you tried to climb is opposite the driveway from F? Yes. I think you're getting him, confused. Do you have any other pictures that would show the other side of the driveway? Unfortunately, I don't. Let me ask the question a little bit differently. Is F where you go from the driveway into the front door? Yes. Is that the side you tried to climb? No. You tried to climb the other side? Yes. Okay, let's look at photograph E for a little bit. When the dog that bit you was barking at Max and Lace, were Max and Lace over on the right side? On this side. They were on the left side of photograph E? Yes. So over here by this telephone pole on the left edge of photograph E? No, they were down more. Down the street more? Yeah. Okay, but they were in the yard. That's on the, yes, left side of photograph E? Yes. Do you know who Cheryl Thompson is? No. Do you know who Fred Thompson is? No. Have you ever talked with people by those names? No. When is the first time you had ever heard the names Fred Thomas and, Fred Thompson and Cheryl Thompson? I never have. Until right now? Yeah. Before this dog bite thing happened, did you ever talk to Mr. or Mrs. Thompson about the dogs? No. Before this dog bite happened, did you ever talk to Mr. and Mrs. Stahl about the dogs? No. Mr. and Mrs. Stahl are the people that live down the street and had all the dogs. No. Have you ever heard the name Kyle Waters? No. Have you ever heard the name Amy Waters, Mrs. Waters? Yeah. Where did you hear that name? When my friend used to talk to her. Do you know where Mrs. Waters lives? No. Did your friend talk to Mrs. Waters or Mrs. Stahl? Mrs. Waters. But had you ever talked to Mrs. Waters? No. Tell me a little bit about Max. Was he a mean dog? No. Were you afraid of Max? No. Let me ask you this. After you got bit, were you afraid of Max? No. What about Lace? Were you afraid of Lace after you got bit? No. And Honey, were you afraid of Honey after you got bit? Yes. Okay, why were you afraid of Honey after you got bit? I don't know. Did Honey ever growl at you? No. How many dogs do you have now? 4. What are the dogs' names? Lace, Chubby, Leather, and Honey. Is Chubby one of Honey's puppies? Yeah. And is Leather one of Honey's puppies? Yes. Is Chubby a boy dog or a girl dog? A boy. What about Leather? Boy or girl? Boy. How old is Chubby now? I don't know. How old is Leather now? I don't know. Of the four, which one is the biggest? Chubby. Is Chubby bigger than Max was? No. Are any of the dogs, Lace, Chubby, Leather, and Honey, as big as Max was? No. Are you afraid of Chubby? No. Are you afraid of Leather? No. Are you afraid of Honey now? No. Are you afraid of Lace now? No. Now, for a while, you were afraid of Honey? Uh-huh. Is that yes? Yes. Okay, when was that? After the dog bite. Was that just for a week or for how long? For a couple of months. Then you weren't afraid of her anymore? No. Did you have to quit playing baseball that summer after this accident? No, but I couldn't play until I could start walking, until I could walk again. Well, how long was it until you could walk again? About 2 weeks. And when you started being able to walk again, did you go back to playing baseball? Yeah. Were you still on the all-star team? Yes. Did you get to play? Not really. What position did you play after the dog bite? Right field. Did you get to bat? Sometimes. And how long did you play baseball? All summer long? Yes. Until when? Until I don't know. When Chad ran toward the house, was it Chad who ran toward the house? Yes. Did he run across the driveway from the left side of photograph E toward the middle of photograph E? No, he ran straight into the garage. The garage door was open, and he just ran straight into the house. Do you know what obedience training is for a dog? No. Do you know if Max ever had any obedience training? No. You don't know, or he did not? I don't know. What about Honey? Do you know if Honey had any obedience training? I don't know. Did Lace? I don't know. Did Chubby? I don't know. Did Leather? I don't know. Okay, have you ever had any nightmares or dreams about this? Yeah. When was that? When I was still in the cast. Okay, I'm going to stop there and we're going to switch transcripts. All right. All right, so this is a court case. Okay, we'll start at 140 and I'll work my way to 160. This last transcript, I got to 140 and then I was slowly getting to 160. Okay, all right, here we go. Come to order. Court is now in session. Call the case of People of the State of California versus Damian Wayne Aztec and Janine Ramirez. Macy Brunn appearing on behalf of the people. Richard Schultz for Janine Ramirez, who is present before the court in custody, and for Mr. Aztec, who is present in custody. All right, this case is sent here for preliminary hearing. As I have been known to ask, has it been fully discussed so that no one thinks there's going to be the possibility of resolving this case right now before we get started? I'm always open to negotiate, but okay, so are we. My client maintains that she's factually innocent. All right, well, guess what we'll do is put on a preliminary hearing. Call your first witness. Okay, thank you, Your Honor, but I wanted to let the court know prior to starting that I will not be proceeding on any of the gang enhancements or on count 5 today. Okay, the people call Juan Gomez. If I could inquire of counsel, I have not heard that was relayed to us before. Does that change your offers, counsel, in any way? Not to the actual incident. Okay. Well, I don't know that what we had, that there was any kind of communication at all. Is there a new offer you wanted to convey, Ms. Brunn? Well, I previously conveyed an offer that did not include any of those allegations. I'm not sure I would want to make a different offer at this time unless I'm always willing to entertain a counter offer, but how about that, Mr. Schultz? She's saying that she's made an offer and she's willing to entertain a counter offer. I'll ask my client if she wishes to make a counter offer. She's not going to proceed on count 5, and she's not going to proceed on the allegation that the crime was committed for the benefit of, at the directive of, or in association with a criminal street gang. I'm not sure it's her intention to. So there's still an allegation of 1, 2, 3, 4 prior prison terms on Mr. Aztec. I'm sure she's not intending to strike those. It doesn't appear we'll have a meeting of the minds, Your Honor, and I never am up for a meeting of the minds. I look for a deal. The people hold their nose and accept. What is your client's counter offer? Her counter offer is she has no prior record. She would take the receiving and a grant of probation and 1 year in county jail. And that was ejected by Ms. Brunn. Yes, my offer had been count 1 as a robbery in for 6 years. What is the exposure here? Well, without the gang enhancements, it's over 10 years. I'd have to look at count 3 because with the gang enhancements, it was like 7 to life. So I'd have to look at it again to see. So on Ms. Ramirez, what is first degree burglary? 2, 4, 6. I know that, I'm sorry. What is first degree residential burglary? Is this still 2, 4, 6? Yes. 3, 4, 6. Residential robbery is 3, 4, 6. Correct. Would you take the mitigated term on Ms. Ramirez for 3 years forthwith? What is the offer for Mr. Aztec? It's 8 years. As far as Mr. Aztec, I have no idea what the facts are of this case. That's a 5 prior prison term. That's 5 years right there. So yes, I can't say that that's a bad deal if the facts are there, but I have no idea of the facts of the case. You want 3 years, Mr. Schultz? That's at 85%. That's at 85%. 3 years? Yeah, that's the mitigated term. I thought you said mitigated term was 4 years. I'm not telling you what to do. I think she's never been to prison before. She'll be doing 85% of it. That's pretty big for the first ride, and it's a strike. She's not willing to plead to a residential robbery, Your Honor. That's fine as long as she understands that I think I sort of finessed Ms. Brunn into, I don't know why I still, after how many years it's been, I still have trouble with Brunn, but I got her down to, I think I sort of got her to the 3 years, and I didn't even hear her say she might do it. I felt she might have, but as long as your client knows she shouldn't expect there's going to be, after the holding order, any basis saying, okay, I want 3 years if I hold her to answer. When she comes back, she's probably not going to see that. It's gone from 6 to 3. So, of course, unless the people's case gets worse with a little bit more passage of time, we never know. We won't count on her putting that back on the table unless the circumstances change. Absolutely. The problem is circumstances sometimes change for the worse for your client. And I just don't know if this is realistic assessment on her part or not, based on the fact that there's a live witness on the stand and it's not a Prop 115 preliminary hearing. But you know what? Denial is not just a river in Egypt. Thank you. And don't get us wrong, I appreciate the court's effort with regard to seeing if we can settle the matter. So I appreciate that. It's not in my court. That's why I feel free to speak about it. It's going to go to Judge Flowers. So, all right, offer rejected, right? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. And it's a packaged deal. So, Mr. Aztec, correct, is stuck. I'm confident that we will be able to work something out, if not for the fact that it is a package. All right, so did we swear in the witness? No, not yet. Please face the clerk and raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly state that the evidence you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, thank you. You may be seated. Please state your name and spell it for the record. Juan Gomez, Juan, Gomez, Gomez. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Gomez. How are you doing? Good, thank you. Your witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Garcia, or I'm sorry, Mr. Gomez. Do you know Janine Ramirez? Yes, I do. Do you see her in court today? No, you do not. Oh, no, I do not. I didn't see her at... All right. Can you look around the courtroom and tell me if you see her in court today? Yes, I do. All right, so we'll stop there and do some read back. All right. And I just want to remind people, if you're watching this and you purposely don't come to class because you're the live class because you don't want to read back, you can always tell me, hey, I don't feel comfortable reading back, and I will not put you on the spot. Okay, you can just say pass. I don't want to participate. I never want somebody to not come to class because they're afraid to read back. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to read this once at 160, then again at 140, and the last time at 120. This is going to be defense. Let me just mark my spot here. All right, here we go. At the time of your deposition, you stated that your name was Benjamin H. Peters, Jr. Is that your proper name? That is correct. How old are you, Mr. Peters? 49. When did you go to work for Manhattan Rentals? Approximately 4 years ago. Yes, it was 4 years ago last June. Now, you have been earning a livelihood since you left college, haven't you? That is correct. Since that time, you have earned your livelihood as a small loan businessman, among other things. Is that correct? That is correct. As a bill collector, I really have never collected bills. All right, as a machinist, that is correct. As a newspaper route supervisor, that is correct. Prior to going to work for Manhattan Rentals, you were never in the trailer leasing business, were you? No, I wasn't. You never worked for anybody in the trailer leasing business? No. You never worked for anybody in any leasing business. Is that correct? That is correct. You were never in the business of working for somebody in the business of selling any kind of vehicles or equipment? No, sir. Now, you were hired by the plaintiff as a salesman. Is that correct? That is correct. A salesman in the trailer leasing industry? In the sales department. That means the leasing and selling of trailers, doesn't it? The renting and subsequent sale of some of them, yes. All right, so let's do that again at 140. Okay, here we go. At the time of your deposition, you stated that your name was Benjamin H. Peters, Jr. Is that your proper name? That is correct. How old are you, Mr. Peters? 49. When did you go to work for Manhattan Rentals? Approximately 4 years ago. Yes, it was 4 years ago last June. Now you have been earning a livelihood since you left college, haven't you? That is correct. Since that time, you have earned your livelihood as a small loan businessman, among other things. Is that correct? That is correct. As a bill collector, I really have never collected bills. All right, as a machinist, that is correct. As a newspaper route supervisor, that is correct. Prior to going to work for Manhattan Rentals, you were never in the trailer leasing business, were you? No, I wasn't. You never worked for anybody in the trailer leasing business? No. You never worked for anybody in any leasing business. Is that correct? That is correct. You were never in the business of working for somebody in the business of selling any kind of vehicles or equipment? No, sir. Now, you were hired by the plaintiff as a salesman. Is that correct? That is correct. A salesman in the trailer leasing industry, in the sales department. That means the leasing and selling of trailers, doesn't it? The renting and subsequent sale of some of them, yes. All right, so we'll do it one more time at 120. Okay, here we go. At the time of your deposition, you stated that your name was Benjamin H. Peters, Jr. Is that your proper name? That is correct. How old are you, Mr. Peters? 49. When did you go to work for Manhattan Rentals? Approximately 4 years ago. Yes, it was 4 years ago last June. Now you have been earning a livelihood since you left college, haven't you? That is correct. Since that time, you have earned your livelihood as a small loan businessman, among other things. Is that correct? That is correct. As a bill collector, I really have never collected bills. All right, as a machinist, that is correct. As a newspaper route supervisor, that is correct. Prior to going to work for Manhattan Rentals, you were never in the trailer leasing business, were you? No, I wasn't. You never worked for anybody in the trailer leasing business? No. You never worked for anybody in any leasing business. Is that correct? That is correct. You were never in the business of working for somebody in the business of selling any kind of vehicles or equipment? No, sir. Now, you were hired by the plaintiff as a salesman. Is that correct? That is correct. A salesman in the trailer leasing industry, in the sales department. That means the leasing and selling of trailers, doesn't it? The renting and subsequent sale of some of them, yes. All right. Just let me know when you find your spot. If you want, we can each take a Q and an A.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
All right. I can take the first one if you want.
Sure.
Okay. Question. At the time of your deposition, you stated that your name was Benjamin H. Peters Jr. Is that your proper name? Answer. That is correct.
Question. How old are you, Mr. Peters? Answer. 49.
Question. When did you go to work for Manhattan Rentals? Answer. Approximately 4 years ago. Yes, it was 4 years ago last June.
Question. Now, you have been earning a livelihood since you left college, haven't you? Answer. That is correct.
Question. Since that time, you have earned your livelihood as a small loan businessman, among other things. Is that correct? Answer. That is correct.
Question. As a bill collector? Answer. I really have never collected bills.
Question. All right. As a machinist? Answer. That is correct.
Question. As a newspaper route supervisor? Answer. That is correct.
Question. Prior to going to work for Manhattan Rentals, you were never in the trailer leasing business, were you? Answer. No, I wasn't.
Question. You never worked for anybody in the trailer leasing business? Answer. No.
Question. You never worked for anybody in any leasing business. Is that correct? Answer. That is correct.
Question. I think I dropped this question because something happened, but okay. Question. You were never in the business of working for somebody in the business of selling any kind of vehicles or equipment? Answer. No, sir.
Perfect. Question. Now, you were hired by the plaintiff as a salesman. Is that correct? Answer. That is correct.
Question. A salesman in the trailer leasing industry? Answer. In the sales department.
Question. That means the leasing and selling of trailers, doesn't it? Answer. The renting and subsequent sale of some of them, yes. All right, great job. So your test is Friday, huh?
You know what? I said next Friday, but I misspoke. It's next Friday.
Okay, so
the 23rd.
Okay. Okay.
But we'll see. I don't know. I might switch it to sooner. I don't know. Just to get it over with.
Yeah. Did you sign up for the Q&A or the lit?
The Q&A.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. I was at my aunt's house today. She's taking the CRR tomorrow.
Oh.
She's been doing real time like since it started in the early 90s basically, but she's never gotten her certification. So she's funny though. She's like, this is a joke, because it's like she's really good at what she does, but it's like the way it's graded, it kind of stinks, because if you misstroke like a 3-stroke word and it comes up as an untranslate, it's 3 errors, so it's like you get dinged so bad.
Yeah. Is it a 95% accuracy or 97.5?
It's 96.
Okay. And is it 5 minutes long?
Yeah, and it's at 200, so that kind of helps. It's not like, I don't know, at 225 that would be hard.
Yeah, that would be. So 200, 2 voice. Well, oh yeah, she's gonna do fine as long as she doesn't get nervous,
Yeah, it's just, it's like, I was telling my husband, it's like at that point, of course it's your skill, but a lot of it has to do with your dictionary and how good, like, your prefixes and suffixes are, that you have a pretty good dictionary.
Exactly.
So, but like, we did one together. I was at her house and I pulled out my machine and we were just like practicing together, and, just like one little thing, like it was something like, was that in question and answer form? And you have to hyphenate question and answer form. And I'm like, that is really hard, because if you're right on top of the speaker,
right,
you don't know, like, necessarily that's about to happen, that you had to get that hyphen in there after question, so that seemed tricky. I'm like, I hope there's nothing like that on the test for her, because that's kind of, that would stink.
Yeah, that's tough.
Just little things like that. But, and then she just has, like common misstrokes that she had, like she stacks with, like, which I can see happening, like the brief for today can come up like, if you're trying to say the past tense of something, so it ends in the D and then it has like to after that, she does that a lot. So like, instead of wanted to, it'll say want today, for instance. I can't think of a better example than that.
Makes sense, because wanted, you come back for the D and then to, and then it's like that, it's thinking it's today because it's TOD instead of to. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and she does that a lot, actually. Not a lot, but it happens. It happened in the practice one she did today. It's just little things like that. It's like, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
That's right.
That's
right.
Anyways.
Let me know how she does.
Yeah, she wasn't going to tell, she's like, I wasn't going to tell anybody, but she ended up telling me, and because she needed my help with something. She wasn't sure how to do something, like on my real-time coach. So
that's so neat that you guys have each other, It really is.
Yeah, she's been helping me so much, and she was like, she's like, this, I don't know, this is kind of a joke. I don't know if I'm going to pass it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You tell me that I'm not allowed to say things like that, and then that comes out of your mouth. Like, are you kidding me right now? I'm like, you're going to pass it. You're fine.
Yeah, she's going to pass it.
But she said that, and I'm like, I can't even say anything that even remotely negative, or she'll be like, don't you say that. Don't you say that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway.
Awesome. So then here she's talking negative about it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, you've only been doing this for 25, 26 years, or however, I don't even know how long it's been. Longer than that probably now. And then you're going to say like, oh, I can't pass this test. Please give me a break.
She's going to pass it.
Yeah.
Now, does she have to put internal punctuation in? Like if there's an answer that says, I didn't go, I went to the bank instead. So would she have to put like, I didn't go period, because you know what I mean? Internal punctuation. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So really, like you said, you can't be exactly right on top of the speaker, because you have to know when you're going to throw in your punctuation. Wow. That's tricky.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I can understand where she's coming from, saying like it's kind of a joke, but I said, if you don't pass this one, take it again, because you could get a totally different test, and it just depends, like if you're having a good day, and if the test is like something that you're comfortable with, and it doesn't, everybody knows you can do real time, and it's like she just wants to do it for herself. But yeah, that's tough. Yeah. The nice thing is, you can do it in all caps. So like your whole transcript. So you don't see, that's one thing you don't have to worry about. Like, can't even think of an example, but
no, that
just little things, like if a road or a boulevard comes up, because she's using an old theory. So like sometimes her things she doesn't capitalize stuff like that, like road, you know, she just writes it.
Yeah, instead of flagging it.
Yeah, she doesn't flag anything. So,
Wow.
so that kind of helps that she doesn't have to capitalize anything. It's just, she can do it in all caps, but it's just brutal, man. Like one misstroke
Oh yeah.
of a long word and it's like 3 or 4 errors. That's tough.
That is tough.
So,
Well, please let me know.
I will. She was like, pray for me, pray that, you know, she's like, you know what you need. She's like, I'm asking you specifically to pray for me because you know what it takes to do a test like this. So you know what to pray for. She's like, you know that you need to pray for my mind, that it's like in the right place, you know? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Just to have that confidence and yeah. Well, tell her I'll pray for her.
Oh, I will. She was sitting there working on her dictionary today. And she's like, I can make changes. I'm like, you know, this isn't really something you can cram for. You know that. Like, you can't cram for a skills test in court reporting. It's not like anything else in the world that you can cram for a test. Like I said, you just need to relax and get a good night's sleep and be rested tomorrow. And
yeah.
So, but I'll let you know how it goes. Okay. I can't wait to hear. I really am praying that she passes it because I know that would just mean so much to her, you know.
Oh, yes. I'm sure she's going to do just fine as long as she stays out of her head, you know.
That's
I can write real time, so I'm just going to, you know, I'm just going to do what I know how to do. Nothing new. So
she told me today she dropped like a big chunk because she's like, I started freaking out because I was thinking this is too easy. And I was like, you know, that's like the kiss of death. You can't do that. You can't be thinking about what you're doing. Like, oh, I'm getting it. It's easy. Like, no, do not. I'm like, do not do that tomorrow. Anyways.
Well, let me know.
I will. I don't know. I didn't ask her.
Okay. All right.
So, well, I'll see you. I'll be in the morning class tomorrow and I'll be at the evening class too, which is at 6, right? Or not for you. It's
5 for us. So what is that? 6, 7 for you?
Didn't you need to change the time because you have an appointment tomorrow?
Oh gosh, yes. Thank you. Tomorrow's already Wednesday. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. I have a tax thing. Okay. Tomorrow's class, well, morning is the normal time, and then we're going to do 4 to 5 instead of 5 to 6. Thank you. I need to write myself a note.
Okay. So that's why I said 6, because it's 4 for you, 6 for me. Okay.
Yes, 4 to 5.
Okay.
In fact, we could even well, I was gonna say I'll start right at 4. I'll be in there a few minutes early and we'll get started right away.
Do you need to do it earlier than that? Because I really can. I don't know if there's anyone else that it would affect, but
and sometimes Nora comes in, but I'll let Nora know. But do you want to do like 3:45 to 4:45? Just that 15 minutes would make it even better.
Yeah, whatever you want. I'm totally flexible.
Okay, let's do 3:45 to 4:45.
Okay.
That way it'll give me, if there's traffic, it'll give me 15 extra minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. PM Wednesday. Thank you for reminding me. I can't believe tomorrow's already Wednesday.
I know.
So, all right. Well, then but I'll see you in the morning at 9.
Yeah. Yes, I will see you then.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.